On this episode of The Bender Hour.
Like it's glow in the dark.
It is so tight that it basically looks like your dick and balls have been painted.
It's essentially, you're essentially like, you got like the cow castrator on. That's how tight it is.
Oh. This is like a personal just shout out to like any of those fuckers. Like if you're like a little kid bitch like mod or admin in any of those games, you're a fucking pussy.
Tool use is definitely a requirement for torture.
Because obviously you can't just make a living executing people. Imagine like a fucking, like, you know, you saw like a meteor crash, like a small meteor crash nearby, and you go over to it, and there's like a golden disc on it depicting like a naked alien woman. That'd be pretty sick.
I just still didn't hear anything on your end.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I'll fucking figure it out. Like I
You
always
better.
do, because you suck. Because I hate you.
Fuck you. Die. Die.
Alright. So the first thing I want to talk about is a horrible little trend that I've been seeing. It was like a fucking Instagram, YouTube short, Instagram reel, fucking TikTok style video. As all horrible things tend to come in these days. The dude started out the video calling what he was doing the infinite food glitch. All right. And
Is this
what
like a drive-through thing?
No, it's actually worse. So what he does is he has like romaine lettuce, and he like chops off the edible part, and then he's like, instead of throwing the root away, what you should do is suspend it over water, and it'll grow roots, and then it'll grow more lettuce, and that's infinite food glitch. And the person that I saw posted it just fucking captioned as like, like horrible modernists discovering agriculture for the first time. Like, the dude takes a tried and true, like, ancient fucking form of agriculture and then tries to portray it as some great fucking discovery.
The cornerstone of like society.
And then he just had to elevate it to like an extra level of horribleness by calling it the infinite food glitch. When he
As
could
if
just
it was
call
like-
it fucking lettuce propagation. Like,
I mean, I guess it's one thing to call it infinite food, which I guess is technically true, but to call it a glitch, like there's something wrong with that. Like it was God's mistake.
the worst part is too is that it's
Just
really not infinite
that.
because the water isn't gonna keep it alive forever. It needs fucking soil nutrients, but
Well,
people don't know
maybe
how
it
to
is-
fucking like grow things anymore apparently because they think that growing lettuce is a glitch.
Yeah, it's like a life hack.
Yeah.
Well, maybe in his next video, if like the thumbnail's him engaging in like crop rotation, I'll let him have the infinite food glitch like title. If you leave one field out with no crops,
If you let your goat herd eat crops from one field, their manure will enrich it for the next harvest. Fucking land fertilization glitch. Let your goats graze on one field for a rotation.
next thumbnail is like a picture of like a dry desert, and he's like soy pointing. It's like a far off waterfall with like bamboo bringing the water to his crops. Like irrigation glitch.
Next video, several months later, it's him starving. His face is like taut, and he's just rambling over and over about the no rain glitch that's been happening for the past year.
Yeah. You really gotta put out an update to this one, guys. I'm gonna die.
This no rain glitch is gonna be horrible for my harvest. This patch needs to be worked out as soon as possible.
Or this is gonna have to be the end of my livelihood. And like 2 weeks later, when like, what's he gonna do? Put out a video like my apologies, but I'm finished with agriculture. Yeah.
My infinite food glitch has run its course.
And it's just him, like, skin and bones. As if he was in, like, a POW camp with, like his dead wife.
You had to, like, eat her to stay alive.
It's like those really fucked up pictures you could find of, like, what was it, like Russians during the Soviet Revolution, who were, like chopped up their kids and, like, tried to sell them as meat. Like that's like the fucking the finality of the infinite food glitch running its course.
Or just like the countless stories of people on the Oregon Trail like getting lost and stranded and having to like cannibalize each other. Because apparently they don't know how. Apparently frontiersmen from the 1800s didn't know how to hunt.
I don't know, I mean life hacks and stupid shit like that, you know, glitches. Just how everyone wants to hear it nowadays. It's just the new format.
I should start a series of like putting snare traps out in the woods and calling it like the free food glitch.
Like free meat glitch. Or, you know, take a loan out from the bank and start gambling, like the free money glitch. So I guess the dumb part about this is that usually, like, the whole thing with life hacks is that they're usually completely worthless. And there's, like, just nothing good about them. And it's honestly, like, more of a detriment. Because, like, you probably spent more, like, you know, thinking that you're, like, turning junk into something useful, but you really
had to,
didn't.
like, break something to, like, get it to work. It would
Yeah.
have been serviceable otherwise.
But these glitches are, like, the foundation of like human civilization. Yeah, so it's like way more retarded.
Like things that have been known about for maybe like 15,000 years.
Yeah, like that would be something. Putting out like some like YouTube shorts, some TikTok shorts of some brand new glitches. But honestly, this feels like a
knowledge.
Yeah, I was gonna say this almost feels like a spiritual continuation of like the primitive rating idea, bringing like the modern day to the ancient times.
Honestly, I feel like Siddhartha Gautama would have had a much better time trying to sell his ideology to everyone if he called it like the like the reincarnation glitch. Like he didn't reach enlightenment. He got the reincarnation glitch where he broke the cycle. The Nirvana glitch.
Stupid. Getting like the remove suffering glitch.
Genghis Khan's horseback archer glitch.
Polio glitch. I don't know. It's like saying shit now.
That's how we should fix the anti-vax problem. Hey, don't call it the polio vaccine. Call it the the polio
the immunity glitch.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like honestly, though, since you know the whole thing about like anti-vax is that it's usually, you know, like you know the older bracket of people, like talking like Gen like Y and X and shit. How many of them you think like have used the word glitch at all in their lives so far?
Maybe like once per person.
Yeah, it's
because many of them use smartphones at this point, so they probably like use the term glitch for like the phone like taking too long to load something because they're stupid.
They have like the infinite retardation glitch.
Every old person ever, sure. Infinite retardation glitch.
Incurable retardation. Oh, I'm so sorry, old people.
Hate old heads.
I need some old head.
You sure about that?
No.
Fucking granny gum job.
That's how we really rake in the subscribers. The disgusting old granny glitch.
The sloppy granny glitch.
I don't know if that kind of content would fly on TikTok.
Honestly, with all the like fucking like teenage girls like bouncing their tits up and down on there, I'm sure the granny gum job would be allowed to like stay there.
You know, like a girl like not naked jumping up and down is not the same as having like an old lady suck your cock.
Yeah, but like when
For
they're
the world to see. It's like a whole different echelon of nasty there.
yeah, but when they're like
Not to imply that, like,
underage,
girl titties are nasty. Well, underage, yeah. That's its own ballpark.
it's a way more fucking gross.
What you do instead? Just like, you know, actually, I forgot if I've ever asked this question in here, like on the Bender Hour before. I want to say I might have like brought it up off Bender because I forgot, but maybe you can remind me. It was like the whole thing about it was that we obviously know where like nudity or the line between like being nude and isn't for women, where it's basically as long as you cover up the nipple, it's fine.
And like the groin.
Yeah, like the groin. But like, what's the line for like a guy like covering up? Like, is it just like
You just
the
gotta-
head of his dick? Is it the dick like whole?
I would say the whole group, like dick and balls, and asshole probably.
Like, could the shaft be in view, but it's just censoring out the head, like the Japanese do?
So. I don't think so. I think you'd have to cover up the whole gang.
Okay, if we hypothetically made some kind of bizarre like bra for testicles, do you think that would fly?
It's just a G-string. It already exists.
I'm talking about something like that actually resembles something like a miniature bra that covers up like half of your balls.
I don't think that would work because your balls are like the balls are still exposed. It's not like breasts where like the nipple is what everyone cares about. Like if you see any amount of ball, you're gonna know that you're seeing balls. Like
okay, well I mean that could be the case, but I'd still think, why doesn't like, you know, the nipple on tit apply to like at least like the same kind of thing can go to like a penis? Like, why is it that you could see the whole mammary minus the nipple, but you're not allowed to see the whole cock? Like, how did that become the case? Why isn't just like the dickhead censored, you know?
probably because like I have no idea. This thing is probably because like the penis as a whole is like a visual sex organ. I don't know what the speciality of the nipple is, but you know, there is just something that draws us to it. You can't deny that. Like if you see like a nipple poking through her shirt, you're gonna look at it, you know?
Now, I guess let me put it this way. I'm gonna like step it up a notch here. So let's say, you know, you got your like, you know, you got your bitches on TikTok, you know, jumping up and down in their fucking like, you know, like skimpy clothes. But let's say like the girl isn't wearing like underwear and she's got like a huge camel toe. Like that obviously can fly since you're not like physically seeing anything.
Yeah.
Even if it's very overt. But let's say now you had a guy and he was wearing one of those like really ridiculous specialized pants that like have the sleeve for the cock. and he's just like spinning his cock around in that. Do you think like he would also like do you think that video would also like survive or would it get taken down?
I think it would, honestly, because he wouldn't be technically breaking any guidelines.
You gotta imagine, because you gotta have a girl jumping up and down with her titties, and you can definitely have a guy like jumping up and down with like his balls in like a perfectly made latex sleeve, like he's wearing like his leather pants. Like swinging like his just like the fucking like outline of his dick and balls around.
That's really the real question here. What if it was essentially a G-string, but the area that goes over the cock and balls is like fitted,
Perfectly fitting.
Yeah. Like you can completely see the entire out. Like it pretty much just looks like a cock and balls with like a when they do that thing on cars where they put the fucking like the latex cover over it. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's essentially that. Like it's like a neon green cock and balls essentially. Like that's how tightly fitted it is to it.
It like brings even more attention than what like you would have been naked.
It's like fluorescent, like it's glow in the dark.
It is so tight that it basically looks like your dick and balls have been painted.
It's essentially
like,
you're essentially like you got like the cow castrator on. That's how tight it is.
Oh. I want to hear about that.
Well, that's foul. I apologize.
Honestly, I think if there was just like some freak pulling this off on TikTok, there would probably be like honest to God legislation drafted up to like try to stop this. Because there'd be people like saying like it's like, oh, my kids use TikTok and there's this disgusting freak fucking jumping his cock and balls up and down. Like we don't want to see that. And this guy like bouncy balls, whatever it is, like bouncy balls 420. Like, thank you very much guys for the, the 8.1 billion subs.
Of course. The whole world wants to see. I feel like he would have 4 billion, but his analytics would be 100% male. Every follower.
I could picture that. But like he still opens up by saying like, what's up, ladies and gentlemen, or something like that. Like, I don't know, howdy girls and.
Just, like it just sounds like the fucking like the big dick challenge. Or the bust that nut challenge. That guy. The fucking black dude like fucking slapping his cock on his leg. Like, yo, what's up? I need 5 dudes to do that bust that nut challenge with. Like that's how this guy opens his video with his perfectly fitted cock sleeve on. And
the sad part is like that would probably like be successful. Like I think word would get out very quick at what this guy's doing, and it would be like I feel like once it got picked up, people would start like clipping it, and it would be all over the internet.
Yeah.
And that's like all you need to do is just get this perfectly made sleeve, and then you're an internet legend. And then you'd be even more rare because you might even be able to fund, like you'd be one of the few males on Earth that would actually have like a successful OnlyFans.
Yeah, you get to join the Hall of Fame with Nikocado Avocado as like the two men that get paid from OnlyFans.
I feel like eventually, like Xi Jinping would have to make like a statement, and they would need to like strong arm like fucking TikTok to like pull this guy. Or maybe they'd bring him to Beijing.
Children, apparently.
They need to bring him to Beijing, and they'd brief him on like how they could utilize him to like deconstruct American society further, as long as he promises to like not broadcast over like the Chinese region.
get him to be one of those TikTokers that gets paid by China to like push Chinese propaganda.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, wow, like, what have we been doing, like, since the vendor started? Just, yeah, I don't think we've had one good thing to say about China. We're not endearing ourselves to the monetization community very well.
I don't know who's gonna pay us. I don't think there's a
Money's gotta
single
come from
group
somewhere.
of openly anti-Chinese funders out there that would be willing to give us money to put out anti-CCP propaganda.
You know, what we're gonna do is, it's gonna be like the Drake and Josh movie. Like, we basically just gotta, like, steal, like, the money printers from, like, the Federal Reserve. And that dirty money is gonna fund our projects.
Get the dark
definitely-
RP money printer going.
Yeah. Like, that everyone on the block can hear. And, like, when the cops come knocking, you know, we just get to say, like, you know, God, we don't get anything in there. Completely block it off.
Oh, you're prop blocking. That's against the rules.
Listen, buddy, you're not allowed to have more fun than me, so it looks like you're permanent banned. This is like a personal just shout out to, like, any of those fuckers. Like, if you're like a little kid bitch, like, mod or admin in any of those games, you're a fucking pussy. You're a little bitch. And it's like, when it comes, like, when the day arrives that the Bender Hour has, like, a giant laser that's able to, like, advertise on the surface of the moon, like, it gonna threaten its usage on them.
When it comes to the social caste of society, you know, you have all the way at the bottom the Untouchables, and then below them is GT, or fucking Gary's moderators.
Gary's mod donator rank. And then beneath that is, like, Gary's mod Dark RP Discord admin for, like, the cop vetting.
Fucking
then you got-
donator rank.
Then you got, like, serial and then, like, Wikipedia admins.
And below them is fandom admins.
Ain't that the truth? And I don't think it goes any lower than that. Those are just the universal untouchables. Yeah, okay, hold on. Actually, speaking of universal, I think you may know where I'm already going with this. There's only one thing that we've discussed that has the word universal in it. This is something my brother and I were talking about a little bit earlier. So, you obviously remember our whole, like, rants and ravings about, like, the universal sign of choking.
Yeah.
So, we were talking about, like, you know, anthropological shit, and I suddenly, like, kind of inspired to ask the question, like, do great apes know the universal sign of choking? Like, what do they do when they start choking on, like, a piece of fruit? They just, like, try to scream and,
man.
like, slap around? Because that's something I don't think I've ever seen before.
I've never seen a video of any great ape choking. I don't think I've ever seen like an animal choke on anything ever.
Like, it has to happen.
That's what you would think, but I can't say I've ever seen it.
I mean, I can understand for, like, herbivores, because, like, honestly, what's there to choke on? I feel like the act of choking, like, for an herbivore would, like, break up the stupid grass in their throat, but, like, something that's potentially eating something, like, more dense, like fruit or meat, like, you're gonna choke. And I feel like I would have seen by now if, like, a chimpanzee would, like, grab its neck very uncannily like a human.
It's so weird. Now that I'm thinking about it, like, never seeing an animal really, like, choke on anything. like I would say like, oh, maybe it just has to do with the fact that humans are upright and our digestive systems are like different in that way. Like our esophagus goes up and down rather than side to side. But chimpanzees and gorillas have that too.
Yeah.
So why have I never seen them fucking choke on food?
And I probably should have like looked it up then. I'm kind of like skimming through some articles right now, and I'm not even seeing anything. Like when I search up, I just search up, do apes know the universal sign of choking? And I'm just seeing a bunch of articles that say that monkeys respond to high pressure situations by choking, just like humans do. I'm assuming that they mean like choking it like they fucked up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because I don't think like the average person just starts like erroneously choking on air when like they're under pressure. And that's what every article is. Like, not a single one's even talking about like choking from eating. I think we might have just like cracked the simulation. Like that's even more damning than the whole argument of like, you know, I never see my neighbors bringing groceries. Never seen an animal choke on food.
This is such horse shit. You know, like I search up, do great apes grab their throats when they choke? Because I thought that might fix that problem. And what's the first thing that pops up? A New York Times article titled, "Why Whales Don't Choke." Like, what the fuck? There's nothing here about, like, great apes choking. I instead get whale shit.
What the fuck? This is from the Smithsonian. Humans are the only mammal that cannot breathe and swallow at the same time, and we are the only species that can choke on its own food. That does not sound right. I find that very hard to believe. I gotta stress, I can't believe that. That's gonna be some kind of farce. Like someone edited like the Smithsonian page and just got away with it.
Yeah.
Can any other animal choke on food? Fuck. I'm not even like seen anything. We choke much more frequently than other animals. Animals do choke. Dogs can and cats can. I'm getting conflicting information here. But saying we're the only species that can choke on its own food. What does that even mean, its own food? Like opposed to like someone else's food? It's like we don't choke, we eat like dog food.
No, I'm like searching this shit out because I can't believe what I'm hearing. This guy, so this person says, from a veterinarian standpoint, humans choke more frequently because we tend to eat and talk at the same time, or at least try to, which leads to problems. And animals can choke, but don't tend to have it be as big of a problem because of that.
But, I mean, we know that, like, animals aren't, like, perfect. Like, sure, they're creatures of instinct, but, you know, like, a deer can still fuck up and not jump over a fence correctly. Or, like, you know, a cat could, like, you know, slip and fall off, like a rock or something. So that would have to extend to, like, chewing food. Like, maybe, like a dog didn't chew, like, this piece of meat thoroughly and just, reflexively swallowed, then starts choking. Like, you can't tell me that can't happen. The Smithsonian can't tell me that that's impossible. Because that's bullshit. This is a shout out to the Smithsonian Institute. They're wrong. They're completely wrong in the science, and I would, like, dare, like, I will stand toe-to-toe with Jane Goodall, knock her ass out if she tried to say anything different.
So, from what I'm reading, people are saying that it's because of our voice boxes and vocal cords being lower in the throat compared to other animals, that allows us to produce a wider range of noises that allows us to talk, but at the same time it messes with the shape of our throats that makes us more prone to choking on food. So other animals do choke on food, but humans are just more likely to because of our throat shape, even in comparison to apes. Or other apes, I should say.
I could definitely believe that. So, okay, so the Smithsonian just looked like a lying sack of shit.
Yeah.
No. It's fucking, crazy. Who would have thought?
News.
Fake science. I am no longer trusting the science after that horrendous gaffe.
Yeah.
So, I guess, we have we have the real science here. So apes can definitely choke on food, but has it ever been, captured on video? Do we know what that looks like? What do they do? They're obviously, social creatures, so, you'd think maybe they'd have some kind of signal.
They try to communicate to others. But that really begs the question, sure, maybe the universal sign of choking exists in other great apes, but do you think that other great apes instinctively know to then go to that individual and, start patting them on the back to help them get it out?
Would that imply that the Heimlich maneuver is universal? I don't think that's
I feel
the
like
case.
pretty much every human on this planet, if you see someone choking, knows to go over and start patting them on the back to help them force it out.
Okay, well, patting them on the back, I feel like if you really didn't know the Heimlich maneuver, you'd probably think to, start pressing on their stomach. I feel like that would probably be the most common, don't know what to do response.
Tummy tickle? I don't think so. I
Yeah,
feel like patting
imagine,
on the
doing,
back is the go-to.
I feel like, I'm just saying, if you did not know the Heimlich maneuver, I feel like doing, a chest compression type move would probably be the go-to. But I feel like if there was a chimpanzee choking, even if it knew the universal sign of choking, I feel like the rest of the troop would just start screaming and circling it. I don't think they'd know what to do. They'd probably see it as some kind of insane event. They just start hooting and hollering,
Running around it, trying to figure out what's wrong.
Yeah, maybe one of them the fucking the troop elder starts whacking him with a stick, thinking that he's challenging his authority, but just screaming out of the blue, rolling around. So I wonder when the universal sign of choking appears in actual humanoids
in human development.
Yeah, because that was another thing my brother and I were talking about.
Separation between what makes us wild animals and what makes us civilized people. Some people say it's making fire, some people say it was agriculture, or in the way we hunt, but in reality it's all about recognizing the universal sign of choking.
That was what started the whole thing, because him and I were talking about when we think certain gestures and social cues first happened in the humanoid lineage, from snapping your fingers to clapping to laughing and shit like that. But the choking one, I think, was just it's obviously the most stupid because of the implications.
A little bit off topic. I've always wondered when did smiling go from being a sign of aggression to being a sign of friendliness?
I verbatim asked him the same thing, because human
smiling as a friendly gesture is unique to us, completely unique to us.
When it comes to facial gestures, almost emotional gestures in general, we're a complete 180 from great apes.
Yeah.
They smile, it means you're gonna get fucked up. They show respect by turning their backs to one another and grabbing their hands. But if you turn your back at another human, that's the opposite of respect. I don't even know how that shit comes into being. You typically show someone
respect by giving them your full attention.
Yeah,
which usually includes facing them.
Yeah, looking them in the eye, which is the last thing you want to do. Fucking hate. I can't imagine how smiling would have come into being. That is way too specific of a change.
It's completely opposite. Because not even just in apes, but in pretty much every animal, showing your teeth is just saying stay away from me, essentially.
Yes.
And we've
But even then,
completely
with
switched
apes,
that around.
but even when apes smile without showing their teeth, it means that they're terrified. Which is another just, it's completely lopsided from how humans treat it. And it's, like, who knows, like, what else came about. Like, I was joking and saying...
Go on
I was joking and saying, like, the gesture of, like, sticking your finger instead of, like, your hand to, like, simulate sex. Like, when did that gesture come about?
I feel like laughing probably didn't show up until at least Homo erectus. I'm gonna be completely honest. That's my idea there, because laughing insinuates that you find something funny, and in order to find something funny, you have to have a decent level of intelligence. Because like a joke just does not work on something that can't grasp ideas like that.
That's true. But, who knows? Maybe, like, you should say maybe, like, Homo habilis couldn't laugh.
I don't know.
Like,
where's
how far
that guy
back does
on
it
the
go?
fucking line there? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's the one right before Erectus, or at least, like, the major step before Erectus.
The thing is, Homo erectus made fire, so they were decently intelligent. Not as intelligent as us, but pretty damn close.
Maybe we're just giving the other older tool makers not enough credit. Maybe they're snapping their fingers and, like, whistling and clapping.
I always wonder, like, do you think anyone's ever tried to teach a gorilla to snap their fingers? Like, are they incapable of it? Do their hands not, like, have the functionality to do that?
The functionality? As long as their thumbs can, like, reach, like, their middle finger, there's no reason for them to not be able to do it.
And chimps kind of have, like, opposable feet. Do you think they could, like, snap with their feet?
That's, like, something, like, just stupid enough that I'm sure that, like, it's possible. And, like, once this bender's done, I'm gonna, like, have to, like, dedicate some time to really delving into this, like, monkey... Yeah, like, this, like, the choking, like, rabbit hole here.
I've always wondered too, and I never really thought, I guess I never really wondered it, but now that I'm, like, thinking about it, like, I wonder why you never see a gorilla or a chimp, like, point to something to try to get others' attention to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a human speak gesture, like, pointing at something is trying to get other people to look at it, to, like, signify something of importance. Like, you never see chimpanzees or gorillas point at something like that.
Yeah, I don't think that concept, like, exists for them.
But you think it would,
at
least, like, in chimpanzees who are hunters, you think it would, right? Like, they would have and chimpanzees get hunted too.
Know.
Like, they're not at the top of the food chain, so you think that being able to point to something would be pretty damn important to them.
Especially when they have fingers.
Yeah.
Just like a wasted, like, fucking thing there. A wasted utility. I'm trying to remember what even sparked all this debate in the first place. I think it was me posing the question of, like, if you had let's say, like, an Australopithecus, and you put it into a zoo enclosure, like, almost like, say, it was like a family of Australopithecus, and you had them in, like, one of those gorilla-type zoo enclosures, do you think they would act the same way as gorillas, just, like, lounging around up against the glass and, like, scratching their ass and sniffing it?
Honestly, probably. Because, I mean, that's what we humans do when we're, like, not in danger of being killed.
Yeah. And then the follow-up to that was, how long do you think it would take, like, traveling up the human lineage tree, like, towards, Homo sapiens, until you finally, like, reached one where it's starting to seem less like a... Yeah, it's like more, it's like less like a zoo exhibit and more like a prison.
Or, like, I thought you were going with, like, how far until you get to a point where they kind of, like, start to be intelligent enough to understand that they're, like, imprisoned in that way.
That they're actually, like, they realize that they are, like, trapped in here being watched, and, like, they start to bang on the glass.
Like, try to get it. I definitely, once again, it all fucking goes back to Homo erectus. Because the jury's still out on it, but nobody really knows whether Homo erectus had lots of hair or not. But some people, or at least some anthropologists, debate and say that Homo erectus started out more hairy and over time lost the hair as they got closer and closer to like human times. Because Homo erectus was around for like fucking 2 million years or some shit like that.
Something like that.
So so one idea is that they started out very hairy or closer to like very hairy and became less and less hairy as time went on. So definitely, like, whether or not Homo erectus had hair, if it has less hair, then I think a lot of people would be like fucking protesting if there was a Homo erectus exhibit, because it would look damn close to humans.
But if it was like a hairy Bigfoot looking dude, like there'd be like maybe one less picket like sign outside. There'd just be like this like one like basically just antiquated humanoid, scared shitless, trying to hide. Trying to see if there's any way to escape, trying to climb out of the enclosure, break the glass.
Whether or not Homo erectus would like be able to understand the concept of being a prisoner, I'm honestly not sure.
I mean, who knows? Like, maybe they, like, who's to say they didn't take prisoners themselves? You know, go around just, like, hog tie and capture, like, other humanoids. I don't know what they would do with them. If you weren't gonna, like, eat like, in those days, I don't think there was really a need to just leave them inside the cave and torture them. Fucking, like,
unless like they were smart enough to understand like some form of fucking like tribal diplomacy, you know.
they're smart enough to torture to extract information.
I was even going on. I was thinking more of like having hostages to like broker deals and like peace and shit.
You know, you got like you got like 2 Homo erectus that captures like one from like some other group. They bring him back and he's like completely stretched out on like a big flat slab, and they bring out like a long stick that's just been like burned in a fire pit, and they prod him with it. He's like screaming, and like they refuse to stop until like he paints like the direction of like the nearest mammoth herd. Because after all, I mean, like torturing other humans, like, I don't know how far back that goes, but considering how fucking good humanity as a whole is at torturing other humans, it has to have some kind of like roots that far back, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's fucking hard to say, because I don't think chimps really don't torture each other. They usually just fucking kill each other and like eat each other.
That's true. But obviously, the further I'd say once you get to the point where you got like, you know, humanoids standing and like making tools.
Tool use is definitely a requirement for torture.
Yeah, like that is a requirement. You need tools of torture. Unless you're just gonna like tie them up with like, you know, bits of like string and start slapping them silly. But even then, making like binds is tool making in itself. So, but that's something I'd like to know, the origins of torture. Considering that the second like society formed, there was torture.
How far back? And it's really hard to draw that conclusion too, because I keep fucking talking about Homo erectus. So like, we definitely know they were smart enough for fire. They probably had some form of language that would have been at least like decipherable to us. Because they were
sure?
I mean, maybe not decipherable, but like we could learn, if there was one alive today, like we could probably teach it a decent amount of language, and we could probably learn its language.
If you think we'd have to like have a program to have like a modern woman have sex with them, so that they'd have like a bilingual kid.
I'm pretty sure we could just learn his fucking language from him.
Yeah, but also that would
That's
probably
like
be
saying
like
that
more
like
effective.
when fucking like Christopher Columbus and all the other colonizers started showing up to America, like the only way we could learn to speak with them was by having sex with them first. It's like fucking Enkidu in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Like, he needs to have sex before he can learn society.
You know, it has its roots somewhere. Learn his language. I don't even know if you'd be able to really call it a language. It would probably just be like an assortment. It would be like the most bare bones of what you could define as a language.
I don't know. I feel like it would have a decent amount of complexity to it. Because Homo erectus shared a lot of commonalities in the way of they lived to humans.
Yes.
Like, sure, their brains were decently smaller, but they lived in decently sized communities. They probably had, like, huts that they built. They had tools that they made. They used fire to cook food. Like, they would have been decently similar to us in a lot of ways.
I guess now that I'm thinking about it, like, torture's kind of pointless in the long run if you don't have, like, a language to spill the beans about to your torturer. Unless it was just, like, complete, like, fucking psychopaths torturing for the fun of it, like cats. So if you're gonna have, like, ancient humans torturing, then they have to at least have some kind of language.
They also have to have
Otherwise,
a brain power to understand morality, I would say. Because, you know, it takes a decent amount of negative morality to torture someone.
That's true.
It's like when you see, like, people who have observed chimpanzees hunting and they talk about how, like, the chimpanzees look like serial killers when they do it because they really don't have any sense of morality to what they do, so they don't hold back. I feel like torture needs some sort of sense of morality in order to exist, to know that, like, what you're doing is wrong at the end of the day.
Or just have, like, you know, the one caveman that just loves his job.
Yeah.
You know, much like how, you know, they got the executioners throughout all of history. You just need someone who's fine with it. That's all. They can extract all the stupid, like, fucking cave-dwelling information you need.
I don't think that's how getting executioners worked back in the day.
Well, okay, well, it depends how back in the day, like, how back in the day you're going. Because I think if you're going by...
I'm thinking, like, medieval times.
Yeah, I think as back in those days, like, executioners, if they weren't hired, like, if they weren't, like, straight up, like, hired by the lords or whatever, they were usually travelers that, like, took up another profession, because obviously you can't just make a living executing people. It's, like, not common enough to do. So they were typically I think they were typically butchers, because that was, you know, honestly, that's the kind of, like, the person you'd want, like, knows what they're doing, like, chop up, like, meat. Like, and that's what they do. They usually get called in.
The thing about, like, executioners from back then is that typically they were relegated to be living outside of any, like, settlements, because nobody wanted to live next to the dude that was fucking killing everyone.
Yes.
And that was part of the job. Like, if you were an executioner, you had to accept that you were gonna, like, live out in the fucking sticks, because nobody wanted to be near you.
It's true. Like, everyone knew who you were as the executioner. Like, it wasn't like, you know, you weren't, like, hooded as like people like to depict it, which in my opinion is way funnier. They should have just, like, kept it regardless of inaccuracy.
I think we need to go back in time and tell them that they were wrong. They need to start wearing hoods.
Yeah, like the stupid, like I think of, like, the Shrek executioner. Like that stupid, like, black triangle hood with the two little eye cutouts. I think that's, like, the dumbest look. And it's definitely, like, the go-to for an executioner, which, granted, what we're talking about, like, an executioner is different from a torturer. Yeah. One just has, like, one job to do, but torturing is, like, a whole different ballpark. That's, like, inflicting mortal pain purposely.
You gotta be, like, a real sociopath to be a fucking torturer.
Yeah, because at least as an executioner, like,
there's, like, some rationality to, like, oh, this guy's a fucking murderer, so
yeah,
everyone's safer
so
if I kill him.
Yeah, I can't feel too bad.
But when you're a torturer, like, it could just be, like, the son of a fucking king who didn't do anything.
Yeah, you get like your balls stretched out, and this guy's like cackling, like pulling back the crank over and over. It's just all humans like to do, just war and torture. Just, you know, get another reason in the long reoccurring themes of the Bender Hour of why, like, aliens are gonna fucking get it one day. But that's another story.
Gonna fucking, like, avoid us at all costs and try to keep us down here.
Oh yeah. Just they wait. You know, we've been really like trying to fake them out. You know, we've sent countless like peaceful records and like
yeah. Like the
sent, like,
fucking
pictures.
Voyager crafts that have like messages of peace on them. They got like recordings from like the presidents.
Yeah, with the Voyager discs, like we have like songs from like the Beatles and like other like stupid shit like flowing up there like through like radio waves to try to prove that like we're like good beings.
Yeah.
I can just imagine if we sent out like something more damning to the stars. And I say, like, why even try to hide it?
Figure of a human with a spear, like stabbing like an alien-looking stick figure, and it says like us pointed at the human and like you pointed at the alien.
Yeah, because
all in English, by the way.
Yeah. Don't even bother trying like making symbols. Because, like, if the rationality is that, like, these discs or these garbled radio waves, you know, by the time they reach anything of value, are going to be intercepted and understood by another sentient, like, race, and then they, like, are going to be able to use that to contact us back, they're going to be intelligent enough to, like, realize that we're full of shit, and that our messages of peace are just, like, us trying to show our good side.
I think any species intelligent enough to master space travel would probably be smart enough to, like, know to, like, scout us out first before actually contacting us.
Yeah,
to make sure that we're good.
Unless they were just unlucky enough to have such a specific upbringing and evolution that being warlike and violent really wasn't as necessary.
They're just way too trusting.
Yeah, and they're just
an entire naive species.
Yeah, just, at least in relation to us, too, they would be so fucked.
What if it's completely the other way, though? What if, like, the more aggressive and warlike a species is, the quicker they advance? So, like, they find our Voyager crafts, and they find these, like, peaceful messages in them, and they're like, holy shit, like, these guys are gonna be so easy to fucking take over.
And then they, like, get over here.
And they lose because they're destined to lose.
Yeah, like, maybe that was the game. Like, it was really, like, Sun Tzu shit all along. Like, it just...
yeah.
Like, to, like, fake out, like, the dumb, brutish aliens. But honestly, can you imagine that? Imagine, like, you're an alien species, or I guess just to make it easier, let's just say, imagine, like, a fucking, like, you know, you saw, like a meteor crash, like a small meteor crash nearby, and you go over to it, and there's, like, a golden disc on it depicting, like a naked alien woman. That'd be pretty sick.
But what about, like, the guy next to it with his fucking junk out?
Hopefully that's the part that like first landed
like, gets
in the dirt,
launched into the other direction.
Yeah, get like blown up. you just see like the woman with the tits.
Like all of them, like the messages on it, the location of Earth in the galaxy, and like the planet in the solar system, like all that shit gets blown off. All that's left is the drawing of the naked woman on the golden disc.
Like, I like, what would you do with that information? Start like jerking off. That's it.
I think it would be so fucking weird. Cause like, what are they gonna do? Like, it would be huge for that species, assuming they haven't found other fucking intelligent life. That like, that thing would have been irrefutable proof that there's intelligent life somewhere, but it would literally do nothing for them because all traces of where it came from are gone.
Yeah. And if they didn't have like a robust space agency or anything to even like attempt to deduce the trajectory of where this thing entered like the fucking like the planet's gravity from, they're like really gonna be up shit creek. They're just never gonna know, and they're gonna have to like live, banging their heads on the wall, thinking like, "Fuck."
Talking about them like
Those
jerking off. Like, what are they just like fucking like quadrupedal like lizard things that would never even like find that attractive? Like, they don't even know what a mammary gland is. They have no linkage of it to like a sex organ like we do.
Yeah, they're like plants made out of chalk that communicate through telepathy, and they just see that, and they can't even comprehend it. Like, that would like really be some shit. Like all those crop circles were actually like real, like depicting all those geometric shapes. Like those were the aliens. That's what that would be like.
What if we found like an irrefutable alien satellite that wandered into our solar system, and we board it, and they have like the exact same disk?
like exactly like of their own making.
Yeah.
That'd be like a little fucked, I'm not gonna
like
lie.
the same exact idea, but for an alien.
It's like an almost 1-to-1 of like our satellite, just like made from different material and like of slightly like variation like of shapes.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess we'd like be able to put two and two together that it's like some Star Wars shit where they're just like, humanoids with different colored skin. Man, like a little disappointing if like the whole galaxy was just like Star Wars and just populated of just like other bipedal humans.
I think we've already talked about this exact like thing.
Probably. And talk like getting Voyager right back. Like, all of a sudden we intercept like garbled radio waves, and through like, let's just say it's like 10 years from now, we actually have like the AI functionality to like have AI algorithms reconstruct the radio waves how they sounded originally, and it's just like the alien Beatles. It's like an alien Nixon. Like that would honestly, I think that would be more earth-shattering than if like actual gray aliens with like the big black eyes landed on the White House lawn in a fucking UFO. Like I don't think they'd ever be able to like tell humanity. That's some like Man in the High Castle shit. It's like this is like alternate history that's real.
I wonder, like, because we have that whole like that decimal system on the golden plate that's supposed to like allow them to pinpoint our location. Like, I wonder if they did a similar thing on theirs and we found it, if we would even like be able to decipher that.
Yeah.
Because, like, our whole idea is that, math is supposed to be the universal language, so, hopefully these aliens would be able to decipher the math that's on it and use that as the language to guide them to us. Like, if there was something similar to that showed up here, would we be able to decipher it?
For a fact, like, we would be spending every ounce of, like, our resources to attempt to do that. Because that's, like, the hardest thing. Like, what other choice do we have? Like, what is there besides math that's, like, universal in our eyes as a species?
Fucking nothing.
Like, we literally can't comprehend anything else. It's like asking us to, like, see a different color. Like see a new color, like a fucking mantis shrimp. You can't do it. That's why, the second we get any word, you just, fucking launch all, like, 40,000 warheads in that direction. Just wait for the good news from NASA.
Wait several thousand, maybe even fucking tens of thousands of years for those missiles to hit their target.
Yeah, like, wait, like, over the distance of, like, 40 quadrillion miles, like, 100 light years for this thing to, like, hit like another galaxy. Assuming, like, space radiation and debris, like, more like miraculous debris, because, like, honestly, it'd be, like, even more impressive if something actually, like, physically hit these things in between. Because even the asteroid belt, like, that's just, like, really far apart. Like, if these missiles, like, made it that far before deteriorating in outer space. Like, who knows of all the electronics?
Like, the fucking uranium in them probably wouldn't even, like, still be there by the time they hit. Like, the half-lives would have run their course. There'd be, like, nothing left.
Yeah, but it'd still be kind of scary.
Always hate when people...
If I can imagine that. Like, imagine an alien weapon. Like, an alien bomb entered Earth's atmosphere and, like, hit the ground, like, hit the surface and didn't detonate because it was revealed that it was, like, from so far away that the half-lives of, like, the element dissipated. That'd be fucking terrifying.
Somebody knows where we are and sent a weapon our way.
Like, didn't calculate how long it would take. It's just, like, Hail Married it.
That would be pretty frightening, though, to know that there's some antagonistic force out there that, like, wants us dead that bad.
What did we do to them? I think that makes it even funnier because it's not even like a generic situation of, you know, aliens making their appearance known and saying, like, you know, Earth is now, like, under our domain, you know, do not resist. Like, this is just straight up the most irrational, like, antagonism you can get. You just like, you somehow spotted them.
Intent.
Like, you somehow spotted them from, like hundreds of light years away. He said, you know what? It's like, wipe them out.
And it's stupid, too, because they're hundreds of light years away. Like, they're looking back at us, like, before the Industrial Revolution. So they're just seeing a bunch of people using, like, wind instruments to get across the planet, and they just want us dead instantly.
Like, it's like a real fucking, like, 10-penny, like, megaton situation. He just, like, wants it gone from, like, his viewing distance. He's like, care about the people living there. And who knows, maybe that's just, like, something that's happening throughout, like, the galaxy right now. There's just, like, some dickhead
asshole
species.
Planet that's just launching missiles in every direction.
Yeah.
Anytime
like,
they
literally...
find a planet that could potentially hold life, they send a bomb to it.
It's, like, the total opposite of, like, the Forerunner in Halo. Like, they don't try to preserve life, they try to destroy it in every other instance they find. Because maybe they're, like, their race or some kind of, like, their culture has, like they're all like having, like, like, what's fucking, like, the term for, like, being a hypochondriac, like the general, like, adjective, you know what I'm talking about?
Like, isn't it just hypochondriac, like what you just said?
Isn't that just, like, the name, like, of a
what's
person that is that?
What's the term for being a hypochondriac? Like, oh, I don't know.
If I was trying to say, like, a whole species that held, like,
like, basically, like, the equivalent of, like, a xenophobe type idea.
Yeah, like, that's basically what I'm trying to get at. Like, that's their, like, their culture centered around that. Yeah, like, it's like a whole culture of germaphobes, essentially. And they see, like, any outside life as being, like, a major threat to their existence. So they have no belief in conservation to any degree like we do. And they will just kill for the sake of removing it, like, from their mind. Out of sight, out of mind, just blow it up.
They won't even, like, settle on other planets for fear of microbes that might live there that could be harmful to them.
Like, they have drones, like, and robots that, like, will travel off-world, like, gather material. And then, like, build shit. Like, it's just, like, a fully automated planet-destroying apparatus. That would be fucked. All of Earth and human history just, like, reduced to nothing because of this one paranoid species.
This one asshole
that didn't even want to,
race.
Like... This one asshole race that didn't just want to, like, you know, communicate first. They want to, like, Skype it over before they, like, made this final judgment. And, like, who knows? Like, there could be shit even, like, worse than that.
Yeah, it just got me thinking about, like, the logistics of all types of, like, microbes and all types of sci-fi settings. And it's not something that's ever really brought up. Like, in Star Wars, they never ever talk about, like, disease at all. But it got me thinking, because, like, I don't know if you've ever played Mass Effect, Like in Mass
No.
Effect, they do talk about, like, you know, the possibilities of cross-species contamination and all that shit. Something I always wondered, like, in a situation, like a scenario like that, where there's an intergalactic community of all different types of species intermingling with each other, like, there would have to be such a huge vaccination effort across, like, potentially trillions of beings. Because you'd have to vaccinate everyone against every disease from every sort of species, right?
Yeah. Imagine, like, Raw Dog and some, like, alien vaccination.
Like, how would that even work? Is that, you know, they always fear, like, oh, you know, if we come in contact with a virus that, you know, we haven't had time to build an immunity to, it could potentially, you know, kill everyone. So you'd have to vaccinate, like, the entire fucking species for everything that exists on another planet. Like, how the fuck would you do that?
Good luck convincing the galactic community to like all share a bunch of like needles. like they're all gonna think, like, assuming they're as, you know,
like, distrusting as us.
Yeah, distrusting as us. Like, they're not gonna fucking go along with this. They're gonna think it's some concerted efforts, like everyone like kill the other with like biological warfare. Like, someone would have to man up and say, like, all right, like, I'll take the fucking, like, the alien vaccine.
Every
Who
single
knows what it even do?
species would have to send in, like, a group to get, like, the first wave to make sure it's good.
Yeah. You know, or you could just, you know, be like the asshole race and just send the missiles. Like, just forget all this.
Send explosive vaccines.
It's like, I guess, you know, because I guess the whole time we were joking that there'd be like their own alien nukes that would just like not really make it in time. But I think the idea that there would be like giant kinetic projectiles just traveling in every planet's direction,
Like giant
will eventually...
tungsten rods.
Yeah, like that would be fucking frightening.
Why even waste the time? Why not just like put thrusters on a fucking asteroid and just send it towards a planet? Then they never even know it was a weapon.
Because
like, send thrusters that detach after a certain distance. And then it just seems like it's a wandering asteroid that's gonna come and destroy your planet. You never even know that there was another species trying to kill you. Unless they're such vindictive assholes that like they want their victims to know that there's intelligent life trying to kill them.
They use like a high-powered laser to burn out the English phrase like "heads up" on the asteroid. Imagine like a satellite like seeing that in like its final seconds before this thing like hurtles at it. You know, the more dumb thing is that NASA's already like had like that mission where they did like that whole public showing of like them like trying like like a proof of concept of them like altering the course of like a meteor just to prove that they could, in the event like something like that would happen, that they'd at least have a chance at stopping it. But here, just the thought of like a fucking meteor traveling like 100 times faster than it's supposed to. That's gonna like raise some alarms.
Who knows? Maybe it just fucking like happened to have such a trajectory that it fucking slingshotted through multiple planetoid gravities. You couldn't rule out that possibility.
But even then, like, are they expecting us to survive and like think about it?
No, they're trying to kill us.
But okay, but then that brings up the question, like, why bother going to the extra effort to try and hide it if the whole purpose is that it's going to blow up the planet in its entirety? It's like using a regular weapon.
What if I don't know, what if it fails? And we like survive it? Then like, well, we're not going to like try to retaliate.
Well, if it's like a kinetic weapon, if it's like a fucking like a rod from God that's being like hurtled at an insane trajectory, it's gonna like do the same shit. I just think it's funnier that like it's like a certain weapon of mass destruction, and they're hiding it as if like we're gonna have a chance to mull it over once like the whole thing's done.
You know, there's a lot of of things to take into account here. What if it doesn't kill everyone, or what if we actually have the technology needed to divert it and like save ourselves? You gotta camouflage that shit so we can't retaliate against them.
Should like bring up that concept to like the fucking like the fucking like space branch of the military. Concealed meteor approach to extraterrestrial contact as a first strike mechanism. To deploy fucking like nuclear thrusters on meteors and hurl it at them that detach and fly back like the SpaceX boosters.
It's like a fucking nuclear sub type of deal. It's an entire asteroid that's been hollowed out and turned into a nuclear missile carrier that can just like show up in a solar system and like get close to a planet and then launch. That's the dirty thing. That'd be so fucking filthy. You have an asteroid and you specifically have its course set to like fly past a planet. So when they detect it, they see the asteroid coming and they go, "Oh, it's on a course to like go past us, so we don't have to worry about it." And then as it gets closer to the planet, it fucking opens up its missile pods and rains down hundreds of nukes on a planet. There would be no counterplay. Like, how would you wouldn't have enough time to get like anti-missile weapons up into the air?
You could send like one you could send like, you know, like an asteroid every couple of years. Like one's like the scout and then the second's the payload.
I mean, every couple of years. You're talking about like an inter-solar system, intergalactic warfare. Like every action is gonna take hundreds of years.
What? That's assuming they don't have some kind of like sci-fi
like
faster than light travel. Yeah. Like we don't know how that shit works in our universe yet.
There'd be nothing suspicious about an asteroid moving faster than light into your solar system and then slowing down.
I don't think any instruments that we have available to us would be able to detect that. Like an object moving at that speed.
Well, yeah, but like you're talking about trying to make it look like an asteroid, so it'd have to slow down as it enters.
If it moves faster than light, just have that hurdle at Earth. Like that would obliterate this planet. like holy shit! You don't even need to do the whole song and dance, like especially.
I don't know. What if it's like, what if it's like space lanes from fucking Cowboy Bebop or like fucking wormholes or something? I don't know. So many bullshit like potential faster than light technologies.
Although I am very fond of the idea that this is like several generations of human alien war. Where they're so petty that they're like trying to kill us over the course of several hundred years.
That should be a fucking movie. The most like boring alien invasion movie of all time.
We never even see the aliens.
Yeah. There's never even like an actual battle. It's just like shit being flung into space and back.
Or okay, here would be like a really stupid idea. Like we just like shoot high-powered lasers at one another from our planet to theirs.
Like we find a way to like recreate a fucking quasar blast.
Yeah.
If there was a way, I don't think there's a way we could recreate that much energy and like direct it at something without like destroying ourselves in the process.
Like imagine that, like this like dickhead planet that's launching like, you know, the fucking meteors. Everybody, they have like they built like the Dyson sphere or whatever it is around their sun, and they're shooting quasars.
I don't think a Dyson sphere would be enough. You're talking about like a quasar blast is like enough energy for an entire lifetime of a sun, like put into one singular moment. Yeah, a Dyson sphere would not be able to get that much energy to do that.
I don't know.
But that would be, like, undoubtedly the most destructive weapon in the universe. If you could launch a quasar blast on command on another planet. Because, like, what's the statistics? Like, if that happened to Earth, it would pretty much, like, destroy life as we know it. Like, it would be enough
solar
to...
system would probably be gone.
Like, it would be enough to completely eradicate the fucking ozone. And wherever it directly hits, I think they say it would kill everything in that area specifically. It would be so much radiation that everything would instantly be heated and dead.
I think the only step up from there would be if they had a way to, like, launch black holes. Just completely fuck over the solar system.
Godzilla?
Yeah. The black hole gun. Well, then of course, then we have to, like, we'd learn very quickly if white holes are a thing.
If we even survive the black hole.
Yeah, I mean, who's to say that it has to be something where we get torn particle from particle, and it's not just like, whoa!
As I'm just, like, being flushed down a giant toilet.
Yeah. It's like, we'll never know. Never seen one in action.
Develop fucking quantum tunneling or whatever. Quantum entanglement, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, I think we're just gotta, like, I think someone just gonna, like, hire us for their space warfare division.
Yeah, we just spewed out, like, 10 great ideas for a potential human on alien conflict in the near future.
As far as we're aware, like, the aliens haven't even been discovered yet. And we already have their ass.
How many times has NASA made some bullshit statement of, like, you know, Earth-like planet found in the Goldilocks zone in a solar system only 50 light years away or some bullshit like that? Like, we need to start mass producing these weapons and just sending them to every potential weapon, every potential planet that's, you know, like, Earth-sized planetoid in the Goldilocks zone. Just start launching weapons at every single one of them that we know of.
Alderaan is a peaceful planet.
You were talking about all these vindictive asshole aliens. Like, we need to be the vindictive asshole aliens. Yep. Just launching in all directions. We
gotta get the jump.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're not gonna make it. You know, like, remember that whole thing where there was like that like an Israeli spy who claimed that, like, Trump was in contact with the Galactic Federation.
Yeah.
Like, if that shit's true, then, like, we need these plans in motion, like, yesterday.
Right now.
There should already be, like, a titanium rod hurling towards the nearest, like, habitable planet. That's hopefully not in our solar system. That's like
if there was a habitable planet in the solar system right now, we'd have problems.
It's like Planet X.
Yeah. Some undiscovered habitable planet's been here the whole time.
Yeah. It's like an exoplanet that has, like, a fucked up orbit that we only see, like, once every million years.
How the fuck would it still be habitable when it's, like, gotten that far away? There'd be no more sun energy hitting it.
It has a warm moon.
It's got a brown dwarf as a moon.
Yeah.
I don't even think that would be... Maybe that would be too much. I don't know.
The moon has, like... Its moon has, like, a massive molten core that actually just exudes, like, heat far enough to warm up the planet.
How is it not, like, completely cooled down by that point? It would need to be larger than the planet itself.
I don't know. I didn't make the solar system. I can't tell you how planet ass works. Okay. And then, you know, we finally, you know, have like a... We finally meet the extraterrestrials. They come down. and they're meeting with our human leaders face to face, and we're trying each other's foods, and then all of a sudden, like, the alien like eats like a slice of pizza and it starts choking.
Does it
And,
grab
like,
its throat?
No. It's like bending over and like paddling its bare ass, and like we're all thinking like what's wrong? Like, is this a gesture of goodwill? And it dies. And then just like all hell breaks. The thing is, like,
hope that the aliens would have enough patience to do a fucking autopsy to learn that it was cause of death was choking and not like poison.
Yeah, but to make the whole thing even more retarded, like we had like the little interspecies mingling like on board their mothership, like in a big like hall, and like when the one starts choking, like the other aliens are like pointing to like one of those like public school like Heimlich signs, like that's like in like their own alien language, and they're doing like a perfect Heimlich maneuver on him, but can't save him. And they think that we're assholes because we just like let him die.
What do you think? They tried to save him and it didn't work. Why are we the assholes?
Because like in their culture, like it would be, it's just like an impolite gesture to not like act first. Like maybe like it's on the guest to do that shit.
They're not
in their
smart
culture
enough
because
to know that like we don't know their customs. Fucking assholes.
I mean that's how it seems to work in like a lot of like films about aliens. Like it'd be something like really minor that like sets them off or something. It's like a reoccurring joke. It's like, oh, that's actually like really disgusting in my culture. Like, shut up. I don't fucking care. It's like by the end of it, they're gonna be like speaking English only.
Yeah. Total human victory.
Like a Pax Americana, bitch.
Nothing else is acceptable.
Ugh.
I hate people who complain too much about aliens not understanding this. I was gonna bring this up earlier, but like the gold disc detractors that complain, because I don't know if you ever heard about this, but some people talk about on the golden disc, it shows the solar system and it's supposed to be, like representing where Earth is. And then on top of that, they have the path of Voyager drawn, and it's symbolized by an arrow pointing to the satellite. And there's a bunch of fucking nerds out there. They're like, well, what if the aliens don't understand what an arrow is? Like, what if they never invented bows and arrows, so they don't see arrows as like a pointing mechanism like we do?
Cry about it.
Shut up. Yeah.
Like, what do you want us to do? We should have just like put down like how they like view pointing mechanisms and put that on the disc. Just solve this whole problem. Pieces of shit. It's just like people just like want to get angry, like just because they can.
Yeah.
Like raising a stink over something that we have zero control over, and there's
like
no other
would
mechanisms.
Understand an arrow.
They
Pretty
better.
Self-explanatory.
And it's like they better once like they get like the war game screen of like a bunch of fucking missiles hurtling towards their planet. We're gonna like jumping up and down on their like low gravity planet, like POW armor, planting the flag. That'll be an amazing day for humanity. And probably also a terrible day for us for the like intergalactic scene.
Yeah. It's like setting the precedent.
Yeah,
let the whole galaxy know what their fate is.
It's like, God help us if we're like the weakest fish in the pond.
It honestly doesn't matter, because once again, we are fated to win. So
that's
just
also
how it
true.
Works. There's no conceivable reality where humanity doesn't beat the aliens, no matter how technologically disadvantaged we are.
It's true. That's the whole thing about humanity, is that we love a good underdog story. And the underdog always wins.
It's true. It's true.
You know, we played Halo, we know how this goes. That's the only good thing about 343 is that they depicted the second humanity was able to pick up its feet after the War of the Covenant. They just immediately eclipsed the Covenant in, like, technological prowess.
Yeah.
As it should be. Shouldn't have even, like, ended the war. Should have, like, completely, like, backstabbed the elites. And then, you know, sent those meteors hurtling towards all their planets.
That's what they deserve after they apparently completely fucking backstab us, because you've just been, like, fighting nothing but elites since Halo 3. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, we
fucking
like that.
Backstabbing bastards.
Yeah. Somehow there's, like, more elites that follow the Covenant after the Covenant backstabbed them and, like, genocided their race than, like, following their own natural leader.
Yeah. Following the Arbiter.
Yeah, like the only people, like, left in there should be, you know, brutes, grunts, and jackals. And, you know, like, hunters, I guess. There should be zero fucking elites in there. But, you know, that's what happens when it's written by retards.
It's true.
Oh, God. I hate 343 so much. It's another thing. Like first I threatened the Gmod kids. We threatened the aliens. But 343's on the chopping block too.
I put them at the very bottom of that caste system that we were talking about before.
Yeah, like they're below like the Wikipedia admins. Like whatever it was. It's the most despicable beings imaginable. God, that makes me angry. Well, do you have anything else to add here?
Not particularly.
Would you like to wrap it up, Mr.
Let's call it there.